Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar this evening. My name's Brian Murray, the Director of Travel here at AAA, Western and Central New York, and I'm delighted that you're spending some time with us this evening as we talk about the beautiful Hawaiian Islands. You know, so much travel has been paused and postponed this past year, but people are really starting to look at travel options, and we're getting a lot of people that are calling us to make those plans for later this year into next year. So we have a great presentation with our partner Pleasant Holidays this evening. I will let you know you're all in listen only mode. If you do have any questions, please type them into the question panel on your screen and we'll entertain those at the end of the presentation. I also wanted to let you know as a thank you for spending some time with us this evening. We're offering all live participants on the webinar at this point $100 per booking savings on any new 5-night or more vacation booked for 2021 or 2022, and that expires February 13th. So there's plenty of time to think about the future and talk to one of our travel consultants. So without further ado, we'll get started. I'd like to introduce Stephen Perry, sales specialist with Pleasant Holidays. Stephen, thank you so much for being with us this evening.
All right, thank you very much, Brian, and thank you everyone for being here. I always appreciate the opportunity to speak about Hawaii specifically, all of our destinations, but Hawaii is one of my favorite destinations. There's just so much to do and see. And right now, in the crazy times that we have, it's pretty easy and convenient for us to be able to travel to without too much extra effort. So what I want to do is talk about some of the Hawaii basics. I will early on get into requirements to enter Hawaii. They're not too bad, I promise. Just to make sure everyone is aware that they do have some extra requirements now. I will talk about what to expect when you're in Hawaii. And then I'll actually cover each one of the islands there, the main islands, and what each island is known for, the typical vacation that you would experience there, or maybe why you would want to go to that specific island. To get started though, Pleasant Holidays, again, we're a great partner with AAA. We work with 6 different islands there. We do offer inter-island flights, about 193 different hotels and resorts, and we have an exclusive room program, which I'll show you also on the next slide. Basically, what this means is they are guaranteed to be the lowest rates at these hotels, way lower than you could even get directly. We're talking 50% lower. So they're amazing rates for these hotels, and they have added add-ons for you included there, which are nice, and I'll show you those. There are some cruise options. Cruises is mostly on hold for right now, but looking at the future, there are some great cruise options there. And please don't forget, when you go to Hawaii, there's so many activities to do. Obviously, we're all probably aware that Hawaii is known for luaus with hula dancing. Maybe you've seen some fire dancing, which is not traditional Hawaii, but definitely lots of fun, and of course, amazing Hawaiian food. But there's much more than that. We're talking over 900 different activities to choose from. Everything in the water, from surf lessons to submarine rides. There's also lots of free things to do, like hiking. There's amazing hikes on many of these islands within Hawaii. Sightseeing in general, taking a drive around the island. There's so much to do there, so don't forget about that when you are in Hawaii. Now, going back to those guaranteed rooms or exclusive room promotion that we have, this is a list of those hotels. So there are options on Oahu at the Aston Waikiki Beach Hotel. There's also the Moana Surf Rider. That's one of the more famous historical hotels there. For Maui, there's the Sheraton Maui Resort, which is definitely one of the most popular because you're right there next to Black Rock. I'll show you a little bit more of that later. And the Wailea Beach Resorts. For Kawaii, there's the Kawaii Marriott, and then on the big island of Hawaii, there's the Sheraton Kona Resort. All of these are great resorts, but you will definitely get the lowest rate booking through your AAA travel advisor and Pleasant Holidays. These have different inclusions like food and beverage credit, free breakfast, reduced spa credits, you get spa credits. There's upgrades even, so lots of different value adds for these properties. Now, as far as going to Maui, this slide's actually slightly different. It's 10-day quarantine instead of 14, depending on the island here. So basically what you need to know for Hawaii is you are required to have a negative COVID test before you travel. So what you do is 72 hours before your flight, or at least the last leg of your flight, you need to have taken a COVID test and you need to have that negative result. This does have to be the antigen test, which does actually, there are some rapid tests that now do that. Early on, rapid tests did not, but there's a lot of different locations and providers you can go to. In fact, many airlines have an option for you to take the test with them just to make sure it works, and it's very easy. Assuming you have a negative COVID result, all you need to then do, and you'll get this information at the airport as well, is log into a Safe Travels account. So you need to create that, upload your results. There's a QR code that you receive. Basically, it's like a mobile ticket when you're at the airport. And when you arrive at the Hawaii airport, they scan that and you're good to go. Negative result, you can go on your way and enjoy your trip. That's the basic. Obviously, if you're a positive result, you should not travel. There are trip protection plans I'll show you at the end, which will cover you for that. So you don't need to worry about that. You technically can go without taking a COVID test, but you're going to be quarantining your entire stay. So it's really not recommended. Now, as far as testings go, this is some of the preferred test companies or sites that you can use. So CVS, Walgreens, big ones, Alaska Airlines, American, Southwest, United, Hawaiian, all have testing options. So there's lots to choose from, and there is additional ones. So it's very easy to go ahead and get that COVID test beforehand. Now, there's a couple of newer rules and things that change, generally for the better. The more confusing one I'm going to talk about is Oahu compared to some of the other islands. So most of the current COVID cases in Hawaii, which I believe Hawaii has the least amount of cases, so it is a very safe destination for you. However, the majority of the cases they do have are located on Oahu. That's where you have Honolulu as well as Waikiki. Because of this, if you are doing a multiple island trip and you go to Oahu first, you will be required to take a COVID test on Oahu before traveling to another island. This is very easy to work around. Not every time people want multiple islands, I always recommend multiple islands, but if you want to see Oahu, just put it at the end. You do not need a test going from one of the other islands and then to Oahu. So that makes it very easy to just avoid that second test while you're there. It's all for safety, of both tourists and locals. I get questions a lot with why Hawaii has these pretty strict rules, and it's pretty logical, really. Hawaii is multiple islands, and there's not a lot of hospital space. If cases did grow and hospital space was tough, it's not easy that they can just be transported to another hospital. It's pretty limited. So it's extremely important that they handle COVID correctly to avoid needing to do that. And so far they have. If you have questions on any of that, you can definitely type those questions into the questions section on your control panel. Other words, what I definitely recommend is when you're ready to start making a quote or a booking, work with your AAA travel advisor. They will have up-to-date information and can assist you and make proper recommendations. Now, going to some of the basics, the climate in Hawaii is beautiful. Summer is May through October, where the average temperature is 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's really generally not too humid. I actually live in Arizona. I am anti-humidity all the way. I prefer that dry heat, right? And it's really not bad. in Hawaii. The winter time is November through April. Average temperature is 78 degrees and much drier at that time. Generally speaking, the west side of each island is drier and the east side is wetter and has higher rainfall. These are tropical islands, so they do get some rain, though it typically comes and goes pretty quickly. Now, getting into each island, I want to start with Oahu. This is definitely the most famous, and the reason why is this is where Pearl Harbor is, which is obviously a big attraction when that is available for sightseeing. But what else makes this famous is Waikiki Beach. That's what we're looking at right now. Now, you can see that hotel that's pink in color. That's the Royal Hawaiian. That's known as the Pink Palace. That's a very historical hotel. The Moana Surf Rider is actually right next to it, which is another historical hotel right here. There's a building in between them, but it's just to the right of the Pink Palace there. Lots of history, beautiful beach, calm water. This is a beach that can be pretty busy, in normal times. You can easily do surfing lessons because, again, the water is very safe, very blue. And then it does have that city feel right there in Waikiki area. So you have some large hotels, you have businesses, you have a lot of restaurants, shopping, as well as nightlife right here in Waikiki. It's a very trendy location to be in, especially basically the closer you get to the beach, the more upscale it is in terms of that shopping and dining and nightlife. Every street you go back, you can find some amazing deals, some street markets, that sort of thing. So really just a great location to attract everybody. Now, a map of the island shows right here where Pearl Harbor is. Honolulu is the name of the airport, and then where Waikiki is here, you have that little bay right there. Diamond Head is that mountain that the photo was actually taken from. I will show you a photo that has that mountain in it. And then also the North Shore. So the North Shore is where you have the big wave surfing competitions. I don't recommend any of you that might want to learn how to surf there. It's not the safest place. It is big wave surfing, but makes for a great day trip to be able to rent a car for a day, drive up to North Shore, enjoy some food. I'm originally from California. I live in Arizona. I love Mexican food. One of the best burritos I've ever had in my life is up there in North Shore. So grab a snack, a picnic, a burrito, sit on the beach, watch some surfing. It's a great option for that day trip. Now, Oahu, I kind of mentioned, you have that city area right there, the skyscrapers, lots of hotel, dining, nightlife. That's really that town feel. Once you leave the Waikiki, Honolulu area, it's very country feel. So it's not all this, nightlife options, but beautiful sunsets, beautiful scenery. That photo I'm showing you up top, I took that. That's not even my current phone camera. That was my previous Google Pixel phone, which had a decent camera, but that is an actual photo that I took. It was at the Sheraton Waikiki from my room, so it has not been edited at all. That is an actual honest view. So dining, nightlife, shopping right here, Waikiki, leave Waikiki, be able to go to North Shore, see lots of country areas, lots of hiking in Oahu as well. A couple years ago, when I took that photo, I was sent to Oahu and given the task, go to Oahu and see new things that a lot of tourists don't think about when they go there, as well as ways to save money. Because I can honestly tell you that in the sense of dining and shopping and that sort of thing, Oahu is going to be the more expensive option if you don't know where to look. So with that said, I mentioned every time you go one street back from the main street there in Waikiki, it gets less expensive. You have just as great food and shopping options. It's just a little bit less touristy. There's actually a Japanese restaurant with udon noodles that I went to. For $5, I had a meal. That's pretty darn inexpensive. It got busy shortly after I was there. I was there almost brunch really, but I was up early, I was still stuck on my time zone. So I was up early, went there, had a great meal. The ABC store is a store that you're going to find throughout the islands that basically has everything. It has swimsuits if you need. Embarrassing, but one of my suits ripped there. I had to buy a new suit, so I went to the ABC store. They have them. There's also food, snacks. Different ABC stores have different snack options there. You can get some sandwiches. There is also beer, wine, as well as liquor. So a great way to save a little bit of money and purchase some snacks and alcoholic beverages to be able to relax with. As far as hotels, we work with about 68 different hotels and resorts. Just some that I want to point out. The Iolani Disney Resort. If any of you are big Disney fans, this is the best Disney resort because it combines authentic Disney with Hawaiian culture. It is Disney in paradise, absolutely amazing, perfect for families. Turtle Bay Resort, that's the middle photo on the right-hand side. That is in the North Shore. This is a beautiful resort for those of you who want to get away from the hustle and bustle of Waikiki area. Major golf resort. I am a golfer, world-class golfing right here for any of you golfers. The Sheraton Waikiki Resort, that was where I took that photo from. This bottom right, that's another image of the ocean front facing section. So my view was actually a step down because it showed the bay, the Waikiki Beach area, and Diamond Head. This one shows you that nice, beautiful open ocean. Then the Royal Hawaiian, that's the Pink Palace historical property right in the heart of Waikiki. It's next door to the Sheraton Waikiki. Both of those are great for their location because you are right next to the Waikiki Beach Walk. That's a nice newer area that is two-story, developed for shopping and lots of different restaurants. Then you also have a very small, mostly outdoor mall right behind it. And that mall has a food court. So if you want to save a little bit of money and have some Panda Express for lunch with the family one day because you're planning a nice dinner, that's a perfect opportunity for you to be able to do that. And it's right behind the Pink Palace and the Sheraton Waikiki. Next is Maui. So Oahu, going back, Oahu is one of those islands that pretty much everyone has to see at least once. Maui's the island that we get the most repeat clients going to. And the reason why is it's easy for one, and it has something again for everybody. The biggest difference between it and Oahu, not quite as much nightlife, though there is some. A map of Maui, you can see the main airport is that Kahului airport with the airplane image in the middle. The main resort areas are basically Ka'anapali, you can see that on the left, Lahaina, and then down south to the Kihei-Wailea area. Basically, starting from the bottom, Makena up to Kapalua, there are lots of hotels in that area. Distance, drive time from Kahului Airport to the hotel areas is about 30 to 40 minutes. So it's really not bad. It's pretty easy to do. There is the town of Hana to the right. There are some hotels there. That's more famous though for the road to Hana, which is a trip you can do on your own. Generally, I recommend rental cars for Maui opposed to Oahu. It's not necessary except for a day trip. Maui, I recommend cars for your entire time. Very easy to drive around. The road to Hana is an all-day trip should you want to do that. Obviously, it's free. You have your rental car, so just pack a lunch and go. And lots of beautiful waterfalls and hiking, and then you get to see that more historical town in Hana. So Maui has, like I said, a little something for everyone, including the most different types of accommodations to choose from. So you have classic resorts, you have very Hawaiian authentic resorts, and then you have newer resorts that are chic or don't necessarily have that traditional Hawaiian type feel like some of the other ones, but are very comfortable and upscale. You also have villas and you have condos. I'll get into condos here in just a little bit to explain exactly what you should think of when you think of condos here in Hawaii, especially for Maui. Now, Maui has some amazing beaches. You have the main Ka'anapali area, which is going to be the most popular for families, especially for families with older kids, middle school, high school age kids. Lots for them to do there. Nearby, the Lahaina town, which has, again, lots of shopping, dining, and a little bit of nightlife. Wailea is generally considered the more upscale, slower paced area, great for romance, couples, or families with small children. I will highlight some of the different hotels right here, starting with Napili Kai. So Napili Kai is one of the most repeat visited hotels on the island of Maui. It's very traditional Hawaii. It's got a great layout. And honestly, the guests that go there go back every single year and absolutely love it. It does have a really nice beach that does feel private. That's pretty unique because most of the other resorts are along pretty busy beaches. The Westin, the Naia Ocean Resort Villas, that's that photo in the middle. I actually was just here a little bit over a year ago. These are considered villas, but they're basically a condo resort. This is exactly what you would think of when you think of the condos located here on Maui. So condos generally have multiple bedrooms and a complete kitchen. Now, Hawaii has a couple different levels of condos. There are some condos that, you have your multiple bedroom unit, your full kitchen. You have maybe a barbecue on site by the pool, things like that. And not a lot of resort amenities, but most of the condos, they're really full resort amenities, multiple pools, hot tubs, multiple restaurants on site, daily housekeeping. Just picture a full service resort, but you have multiple bedroom unit and your full kitchen, and at a really nice price. It's great for families, multi-generation families as well. It's a nice way to social distance and stay in your condo, for example. Stock your refrigerator. There's a Safeway grocery store right down the street in the Lahaina area. Stock your refrigerator with snacks if you want, a charcuterie board, maybe a bottle of wine that you want chilled, or you can have some cereal for the kids or sandwiches. Definitely a huge cost saver there. The Sheraton Maui Resort and Spa is at the bottom photo. Now, what makes this such a famous hotel, the really cool layout's nice because you have some of the hotel rooms down near the beach, but then you also have some up along the Black Rock area. But also what stands out is they have nightly entertainment. They have a torch lighting ceremony where basically a male hula man, torch lighter rather, torch bearer, runs throughout the property lighting torches, runs up on that black rock that comes out here along the ocean, lighting torches, and then ends with diving into the ocean. It's a lot of fun to watch, and it brings in a lot of business just because of that and their nightly luau entertainment there. Aside from that, the snorkeling right here along Black Rock is awesome. This is the main snorkel area on this beach in the Ka'anapali area. So great snorkeling right there in front of the Sheraton Waikiki, or sorry, Sheraton Maui. And then the Fairmont Kaiolani, one of my personal favorites. This is a 5-star resort in the Wailea area. They are all suites and villas. They do have villas right there on the beach, multiple bedroom, lots of privacy, your own little plunge pool, beautiful resort with some of the best cuisine in in all of Hawaii, really, not just Maui. I could talk about about Hawaii. I'm stumbling over my words tonight. I apologize. I could talk about Hawaii forever, so I'm going to pick it up a little bit because I'm looking at the time running out here. Moving on to Kauai. If you have not been to Hawaii at all, but you're picturing it, you're probably picturing Kauai. This is the most beautiful island, for at least I feel that way, and many people do. It's mountainous, it's green. Lots of movies were filmed here, including things like Jurassic Park. Just a really beautiful island. It is a little bit more sleepy, for lack of a better term, than like Maui and Oahu. There's really not much nightlife aside for what's at your resorts. very romantic island, perfect for honeymooners, anniversaries, adults, or there are some family options. Those will be more in the Poipu area to the south. So the way this island splits up, you have more of the beach area in Poipu. That's going to be the best weather for Kauai. And then Princeville to the north is going to be upscale and romance focused. That area does get more rain. So Kauai in general gets more rain than the other islands. Princeville, expect rain every day for about 15 minutes and then it goes away. And it's a really beautiful island though. As you can see in some of these photos, very much an island full of countryside, farms, amazing activities, especially if you either want romance or some thrill seeking. There's things like ATV tours, zip lines, amazing zip lines here over canyons. There's horseback riding, there's river tubing, even hiking or backpacking. The Kalalau Trail is one of the most dangerous trails in the world, actually. Awesome backpacking trail there. So for adventure seekers, lots to offer for you here. As far as hotels go, the Grand Hyatt Resort and Spa, I love that property. I've stayed there before. It is located on the south in the Poipu area. It is a luxury family resort. Couples are perfectly happy there as well as families. And they have a great beach in front of it. There's a pretty popular surfing area that's not really recommended for swimming though, right there in front of the resort, and it's nearby a great swimming beach just to down the beach a little ways. The Kauai Marriott, this hotel is actually located closer to the airport in a pretty unique location. It's got a great private field beach. It also has the largest pool in Kauai. And then Princeville up in the north part, romance focused, golf resorts. Again, this is where the weather does tend to get rain daily, but definitely the most beautiful part of the entire island. And then as far as the big island called Hawaii, also sometimes referred to as Kona, this is the largest out of the islands. It's the most unique probably. If you have not been to Hawaii before, I don't recommend this be your first stop. It might scare you as you're flying over Lava Rock. It's the newest island as well. So it's not all lush and green, though there are lots of lush green parts to it. It has some great beaches, but lots of the beach areas are black lava rock. So really beautiful to see. But some of these hotels are on definitely the best beaches there along the Kahala coast in the Waikoloa area. The Hilo area, there are some hotels as well. That's closer to the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park for any of you who might be interested in seeing the Hawaii volcano. As far as the island goes, again, definitely recommend for repeat guests or clients who have been to some of the other Hawaii islands or combining it with them. Definitely has its own beauty, lots of history here. This island is the best for deep sea fishing. They have fishing competitions every year, lots of different kinds or colors of sand as well. So if you want to see some very unique beaches, this is a great island to go to. As far as hotels go, Four Seasons Resort Hualalai, if you're familiar with the Four Seasons brand, it's very luxury. This is oftentimes considered to be one of the top 2 Four Seasons in the entire world. It is absolutely stunning. Mount Aulani Point is one of the most commonly revisited resorts there. It is a villa property with kitchens, so again, makes it very convenient. And then it is in a unique location near the airports. And then the Royal Sea Cliff Kona by Outrigger. This is a condo that has a lower price point. So that's going to be the bottom right photo or image there. Very traditional Hawaii type feel. Beautiful resort condo, so you have that kitchen at a great cost. And then lastly, the Fairmont Orchid Hawaii. This is another luxury resort. This is great for families. You can see that beach area is very protected and very safe, so the youngsters can go out and enjoy the ocean. Last two islands, and then I'll wrap it up here. Molokai. Molokai is definitely going to be the most authentic experience you could have. This is really recommended, again, for guests who have been to other islands first, looking for that total seclusion. You do fly in, it's about 20 minutes from Oahu, Honolulu Airport. The island is only 38 miles long by 10 miles wide. No building here is taller than the largest palm tree. It is the birthplace of hula, so you have a lot of history here. The people, the locals that live on Molokai really love their island and protect it and take care of it. So as I mentioned, this is definitely an island for those of you who have been to Hawaii and seen some of the other islands and want something very authentic. There is some great snorkeling and scuba diving here. There's 27 miles of coral. It's the largest reef system of its kinds right there off of the island. So great for snorkeling and scuba diving. And then as far as the hotels go, there's two that we work with. And again, these are really Hawaiian. You can see the top two photos on the right is the Hotel Molokai Oceanfront Bungalows. Nice hammock. That looks perfect to me. Just relax on that hammock right by the ocean. And then the Castle Molokai Shores, the bottom two images there, again, very traditional, authentic Hawaiian, nice large grass areas, picnic tables to be able to enjoy a picnic by. So if you're looking for authenticity, this is the perfect island for you. And then lastly is Lanai. Lanai is all luxury. Another small island, 13 miles wide, 18 miles long. This is for the ultimate seclusion and luxury option. It has a lot to choose from though. Golf, it's a golf focused island. They have horseback riding. There's archery, skeet shooting, fishing, snorkeling, scuba diving, you name it. This island is focused on activities for that luxury focused traveler. Now, there's really one hotel there, and that's going to be Four Seasons. So it is, of course, very five-star luxury focused with those endless activities. Perfect getaway for romance, honeymoon, anniversary, or just total seclusion as mentioned. Lastly, private resorts, resort residences, and villas. Villas can be attached to other villas. They could be semi-attached or detached rather. And then the private resort residences are multiple bedroom homes up to 9-bedroom options. They are completely detached. But what's really nice about them is you have that space. You can have family reunions. They do have smaller options, but they are located on resort grounds. The benefit to that is that even though you have that privacy and that space and that private home feel, you still have access to full resort amenities, all the restaurants, the resort pools. If maybe you don't want to use the pool at your own resort residence, you have complete access to that resort. And then private retreats, these are individually owned homes. This is up to 11 bedrooms. Again, perfect for family reunion. There are some as small as 3-bedroom options. So great for that total peace and quiet, be able to just kind of get away from it all and relax in basically your own rental home there. And then last is the trip protection that I mentioned earlier. So anywhere you travel, I want to encourage travel. I think that it's important for us to be able to stay sane and travel and unwind, but it's also important to know that things are changing regularly. I feel like they're going in a more positive direction, but it's definitely something that has changed a lot since the beginning of this pandemic in the first place. So travel protection makes it easy should you need to change or cancel for any reason at all, including COVID-19 reasons, for as little as $99 per person. There's two plans. One is a cashback plan. It is a higher price. It matters on the cost of your trip, but everything is refunded in full to the form of payment you used, should you have to cancel for any reason, even if you just decide you don't feel like traveling. The $99 per person cancel for any reason is a future travel credit option. That means that if you need to cancel for any reason at all, everything that's refundable is refunded to you. If anything on your booking is considered non-refundable, this is usually published airfare. You're probably aware that a lot of times you purchase an air ticket, it's not refundable, you get a credit to use. Things like that, you don't actually need to use that credit with the airline. You can use that amount for anything you want in the future, even a different vacation. It does not need to be on that airline. So it gives you that peace of mind, as well as includes in destination insurance coverage, things like lost or stolen baggage, medical expense reimbursement, that sort of thing. So these are really essential right now just to protect you should you need to change or cancel for any reason. Definitely work with your AAA travel advisor on adding that when you are making your booking. And that's all I have. I went just about where I wanted to time-wise. So hopefully there's some questions. If you have any, please type them into the question section so that I can answer those. Brian, any questions?
Absolutely. Thank you, Stephen. What a great presentation. I certainly want to catch some of that Aloha Spirit and go back. You mentioned the road to Hana. I did that. It was a wonderful day and beautiful experience with the beautiful scenery of that island. But we do have some questions. A couple are about COVID, and we can address them. And if we're not 100% sure, I can have one of our AAA travel consultants follow up. But the first one is, what if you've been vaccinated? So if the passenger already has the vaccine, it's my understanding that you're really not supposed to have a test for 3 months once you've been vaccinated.
Yeah, that's one of those questions. I actually was asked that question earlier today. I'm not 100% positive on that.
Okay.
Um, I would imagine that Hawaii would still want you to have a test, but as you said, Brian, you're not really supposed to get a test for about 3 months. So I'm sure this has come up before, and there's probably an answer. I would expect that if you can prove that you've had a vaccine, that Hawaii would probably accept that, but that's something that we'll have to check on for you for sure.
Yeah, and we can follow up with the question around that one. The other one, it says testing results can take 1 to 5 days or longer. So how do you guarantee that you can produce a result within 72 hours? So you had mentioned having a test 72 hours before your departure. I think this question pertains to that comment.
Yeah, great question. So I showed early on in the slides a list of providers who are appropriate for exactly this situation because they are guaranteeing results within those 72 hours. Also, I mentioned that the rapid tests have come a long way, and there's actually rapid tests that are widely used now, probably the majority of the time, that have that antigen test in it, which is required, which is one of the requirements for the test for Hawaii. So it's actually pretty easy now to be able to get your tests within that 72-hour period. It's just important that you use one of the services that is set up to handle these and will guarantee that you'll have the proper test and results within 72 hours. I'll go back to that slide here as well, just so you can see it. Let me pause the screen and go back to that one because it's a lot to choose from. So it should be popping up here now. I'm sure you probably have some of these in your area. Again, most of the major airlines also have the test available for you too.
Perfect. Thank you. The key is one of those approved suppliers, especially for Hawaii. Great. Thank you, Stephen. Can you elaborate a little more on the Kapalua area? You mentioned it, but can you tell a little bit more about that area of the island?
Yeah, definitely. So the Kapalua area in Maui is considered a little bit more upscale. It's a beautiful area. I personally like it. I think it's ideal for couples, anniversaries. I had friends that went on their honeymoon there and had an amazing time. It's definitely going to be that upscale feel, a little less crowded, which is very important because the beach there, you can go and have plenty of beach area to be able to relax, have that social distancing, whereas some of the other beaches like Ka'anapali, for example, tend to get a little bit more busy. The weather there tends to get a little windier, so if you don't mind that, it's definitely worth going to the Kapalua area on the northern part of the island for Maui. I absolutely love that area.
Great, thank you. Pearl Harbor, do we know if it will be open for visitors this summer?
No way to know for now, unfortunately. I hope so. You know, the tricky part is since the beginning of this pandemic, I've thought, oh, everything should be fine by this date in the future, and
Right.
we're about at a year, so I don't want to say that it will. I obviously have no way to know. I am encouraged by the vaccines that are coming out and the news that I've read about future availability and additional vaccines from like Johnson and Johnson. So I think there's a great shot, or a great shot, no pun intended. I think there's
Yeah,
a great plan or opportunity, chance rather, that it will be ready to go for the summer, but I don't know.
perfect. Um, Thank you. Yes, things are always fluid as we migrate out of this pandemic situation for sure. Um, at the Sheraton Maui Resort, do you have to stay there to snorkel at that location?
You do not. In fact, I mentioned that I had stayed at the Westin Naia Ocean Resort Villas. That's maybe 3 hotels away from that. I just walked down the beach and went out there and snorkeled. These are all public beaches. There's no private beaches here on in Hawaii, so anybody's welcome to snorkel there. And if you don't want to rent snorkel equipment or bring it from home, the ABC stores, I think it's under $10. Get a snorkel and a mask, and they work perfectly fine.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. Um, this is a big question because it encompasses all of Hawaii. What is the best luau? And I know it's probably a personal decision or choice, but I'm sure that there's a lot of talk about wonderful luaus.
Well, I think I can give a pretty accurate answer, even though it is still partially personal preference. But I'm basing this on in Maui, the Old Lahaina Luau is definitely going to be one of the most authentic. By saying that, there is no fire dancing in Hawaii culture. That's something that is added to a lot of the luaus for fun, and it's a blast. The Old Lahaina Luau is specifically Hawaiian song and dance. It's a beautiful, culture of song and dance. And I also think the food's the best, personally. So I would say the Old Lahaina Luau is the best in terms of that. On the flip side, also in Maui, though, you can go to Drums of Pacific, which is located at the Hyatt Regency Maui. And that's a great Polynesian show that shows you the different dances and cultures of Polynesia, including Samoa, things like that. So they do have fire dancing there, which especially for kids is, definitely a lot of fun, and the food's great as well. Lastly, Oahu, the Polynesian Cultural Center in the North Shore, not open on Sundays. That will teach you all about the cultures of Polynesia. So in terms of learning the most, that's where you want to go. In terms of most fun, I say Drums of Pacific in Maui. In terms of most authentic and best food, Old Lahaina Luau.
Well, a lot of choices there. Wonderful. Thank you, Stephen, for that. Um, Another question, swimming with the sea turtles, where's the best place to do that?
So lots of the different islands have sea turtle options, or have sea turtles that go and are on the beaches. The problem is these sea turtles are protected, so it's pretty hard to be able to swim with them. And so if you're looking for like a tour, you probably won't really find that. However, um, there are lots of sea turtles within Hawaii, and there are certain beaches that are known to have more sea turtles. I showed you, let me go back to that hotel here. I'm pausing the screen. And I mentioned that the Napili Kai Hotel is one of the most revisited right here at the top. That beach is known to get a lot of sea turtles there. You can't go up to the sea turtles, you can't touch them, they are protected, but just to be able to see them, this is a great hotel. Lots of the different beaches on Maui also have plenty of sea turtles. Keep in mind though, some of the actual sea turtle beaches where they nest, you can look these up online. You won't be able to go down to the beach. They will be blocked off, and it's against the law to go there. It's to protect the sea turtles.
Perfect. Thank you on that. Another question on your recommendation: if someone was staying at Iolani, would you recommend renting a car? Now, my gut reaction is in Oahu, you probably would want a car to, see more. But if you're staying specifically out at Iolani, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that it really matters, and here's why I'm torn. It is further removed, so if you want to see a lot of the island, or if you want to go into Waikiki, which I expect you probably will, for more than just a day, I would probably get a rental car because you are further removed from that main area. However, I have to assume that most families who go to the Aulani Disney Resort will be spending most all their time at the resort because there's just endless options. Giving you an example, I know we're going time wise here, but give you an example. When I went to Aulani, I was on a tour right as it first opened, and I'm standing in some area near the pool, and the guide's talking, and I noticed something kind of strange, just like in one of the plants. It was like this little statue thing. And I was like, what is that? And she's like, oh, that's funny. That's actually a clue. She's like, we have random throughout the resort, and it changes all the time, clues that anybody could find, and it starts a like treasure hunt or something along those lines. And even though there's an activity guide you can get each day, there's lots of things like that that are not in the activity guide. So there's honestly just endless options. I can't see people leaving the resort too much unless you're staying there for an extended period of time. So if you want to leave the resort and want to go into Waikiki, North Shore, that sort of thing, rent a car. If you just want to leave for one day, you could really just take a taxi or transfer over, and your AAA travel advisor can help you with that and help you make decisions.
Terrific. A few more here. Some are still coming in. If we don't get to your question, we will have a AAA travel consultant certainly follow up with you as well. Stephen, question: are mosquitoes a problem on the islands?
That's a good question. I don't know the exact answer. I've never actually seen any. And I know when I did the road to Hana, when was I there? I was there in December. And I did the road to Hana, and I got out at almost every single waterfall there and hiked through basically the jungle to get to some of these, and I never saw a single mosquito. So in my personal experience, I have not really seen any. It is a tropical destination, so there may be some, but I don't think it's at least from all of my times I've been there, I've never experienced a lot of mosquitoes to a point where I would have even noticed it.
I would agree with you. I was there in May and did the exact same thing out to Hana and had no issues and did not notice. So I concur on that one. But who knows, right? With animals, wildlife, anything flying around, anything can happen, right? But thank you for that. First time visitor to the islands, how long of a trip would you suggest and how many islands?
That's a really good question. So keep in mind, it will really depend on why you're going and types of things you want to do. If you want to be really active, what type of activities. So that's overall, you'll want to work with your AAA travel advisor. As a general rule, I would say at least a week for your first time would be ideal. You could do it in 5 days, but I would try to go for at least a week, 7 to 10 days. It's good to see Oahu. I know Pearl Harbor is not an option right now, but it's definitely a fun experience to see. In the past, I would recommend doing that first. Now, because just to avoid getting a second test, I would end with Oahu. I would say 2 islands if you're going for about 7 days would be ideal. If you're going to 10 or more, you can add, a third destination there. But I would spend a perfect example, probably the most common for a first timer, would be 2 to 3 nights in Oahu and 4 or 5 nights on Maui or one of the other islands is one of the most common.
Perfect. Thank you. Another question on cruises to or in Hawaii. So Norwegian Cruise Line typically in regular times, I'll use that in quotes, operates a 7-day cruise out of Honolulu to visit all the islands. That's done on a weekly basis. And when cruising returns, that itinerary should be in place. And then cruises to Hawaii. Certain cruise lines do have cruises that leave the West Coast, maybe stop and go to Hawaii and then continue on, or different unique itineraries. Our AAA travel consultants can certainly look into that, but the 7-day round trip Honolulu does typically operate with Norwegian Cruise Line. Kids-free resorts, are they recommended, and are they available in Hawaii?
Yeah, great question. So a lot of the hotels, probably the majority, do have kids free. Now, the difference is different resorts consider kids at a different age. Most commonly, it's 17 and under are free, but sometimes there's 12 and under that will be out there. But in general, mostly will be kids free. And the reason why is Hawaii doesn't really do all-inclusive resorts, so there's really not a need for that upcharge. So you will find a lot of kids-free resorts in Hawaii. I would say the majority of them. So definitely recommend. There's amazing family resorts that you can get of any style in Hawaii.
Terrific. And then one last question I see here. Can you talk about Hawaii at Christmas time? Good time to visit. Any special things going on at holiday time?
Yeah, so another great question. As mentioned, I was there actually not for Christmas, but just before Christmas. And it's generally known to be one of the most beautiful Christmas areas and displays. Hawaiians love Christmas. It is very decorated. All the resorts are really decorated. If you're on Oahu, there's an area there that is just completely decorated for Christmas and great to just go and do either a drive-by tour or a walking tour through it. But they definitely take Christmas seriously, and it is one of the most beautiful places to be and best experiences. It can get pretty busy, keep that in mind. And if you are looking to book holiday time, I highly recommend reaching out to your AAA travel advisor now, because as of right now, resorts are at a lower capacity that they're allowed to book, and Christmas time is the busiest time for Hawaii. So definitely reach out to them ASAP. Most people who go to Hawaii for Christmas book a year in advance.
They absolutely do. And of course, with this pent-up demand for travel, people are certainly thinking about it and investigating all these possibilities. So I'd like to remind everybody, thank you so much for participating tonight. Great presentation. Don't forget $100 per booking on any 5-night or more new booking. That expires the 13th of February. And as always, AAA and our partners offer additional value adds, benefits, and savings with all our vacations. So we hope you enjoyed it and maybe catch some of the Aloha Spirit. And Stephen, thank you. We really appreciate your time, and we learned an awful lot about Hawaii. I know I'm ready to go, so I hope some of our participants as well. So thanks again, Stephen.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody. Thanks so much.